Hi, this is Debbie Simpson with the Be Free Respect podcast. This is from the blog post titled From Winter Blues to Winter Wonderful, as read from BeFreeRespect.com. The original blog post was shared on January 13th, 2025. Before we begin, I want to remind you that I am not a brain specialist or brain rewiring expert. I am simply sharing my personal journey and my personal understanding as it makes sense to me. From winter blues to winter wonderful. Well, maybe not winter wonderful, but definitely winter not so bad, and definitely not winter blues. January, traditionally, is a less than joyful month for me. Traditionally. Maybe it's the after holiday thing, maybe it's a winter thing, maybe it's because it's my birthday month. Whatever it is or was, I am grateful for recognizing the ability to change this. I turned 65 this month, and as I've learned, we're never too old to learn new things or to change old habits. I am learning to make winter a more joyful experience. From winter blues to winter not so bad. Inspired to write. This idea for a post has been knocking on my brain for the past day or two. I have started recognizing that a Sit with Nature challenge that I've been doing has me connecting to these winter days in a more joyful way. As I see more and more winter blues posts on Facebook, I realize that this Sit with Nature challenge is retraining my brain to see the more joyful side of this season. This focus is training my brain to disconnect from old habits of expressions and descriptions about this time of the year, and I've been feeling a tug to share it. Inspiration from Dr. Joe Dispenza. This morning, while lying in bed, trying to decide whether or not to get up, I watched a 13-minute Joe Dispenza video on YouTube. So much of what he said resonated with me and reminded me of what I'm working on with my brain retraining. I was motivated to get up, get going, and get writing. I shared a link to that video in the description to this video below. That urge to write felt so good, click-clacking away on my keyboard with thoughts aching to get out while I sipped on my dandelion tea felt really good. Well, the dandelion tea was okay. I switched to my morning coffee a little later, and that was better. Ever-evolving brain retraining routines. I'm approaching the 3rd anniversary to the start of my brain retraining journey. What an interesting journey this has been. The routine with my practice through year 1 has gradually evolved. That Sit with Nature addition to my routine is one of my favorite parts of where that evolving process took me, and is what I want to share in this post. Connecting with nature, my favorite brain retraining tool. I've always enjoyed spending time outdoors on a nice day, but it wasn't until recently that I learned that there's science behind it. Connecting to nature has an impact on our mood, our creativity, our stress level, and as I'm learning, it doesn't just have to be all about nice weather days. Not at all. I had started creating weekly intentions for my brain retraining practice about a year or so ago. This is what inspired the journal I created, titled My Brain Rewiring Journal, Daily and Weekly Goals. Eventually, one of these weekly intentions included spending time outside and being intentional with my connections to something in nature, a falling leaf, the sound of the wind, bird songs, or whatever caught my eye. For me, I found it a form of meditation, releasing thought as I found something to connect with outdoors. As this practice evolved, and as I felt my joy from this practice grow, I was inspired to create a private Facebook group in October of 2024. Sit with Nature Daily, and a link to that group is in the description below. I didn't have a clear outline of how the group would go, but one of the main objectives is to share pictures from our individual daily experiences, thus lifting and inspiring one another to increase joyful emotions through connections with nature. Reestablishing momentum each month. It can be easy to enjoy a routine for a while and then gradually leave it behind. Sticking with something, even if it brings me those feel-goods, can be difficult. And for this reason, we do a monthly 10-day challenge. Committing to this challenge for just 10 days is doable for me. It's certainly a motivator. As the days go by, I recognize the personal benefits of connecting with nature, and it helps me rebuild that momentum that seemed to slow down through the couple weeks prior to each challenge. January's Sit with Nature Challenge. I was excited about starting 2025 with a new Sit with Nature 10-day challenge, but I have to admit, there was also a big part of me that wasn't really looking forward to it. I kept looking at the forecast, and the prediction was cold. After all, it is winter, and being in the Midwest, winter tends to be cold. Kicking the winter blues. We're halfway through January's 10-day challenge. Here in the St. Louis area, we had quite a bit of snow just before the challenge began. But there are ways to sit with nature, whether you can get outdoors or not. I told Alexa to play bird sounds on my Echo Dot while I gazed out my window one morning. And I just watched and enjoyed the falling snow. I admired the way it stuck to the trees, and I enjoyed watching squirrels chase each other. I put on my boots and took a walk around my backyard on another day, looking for animal footprints in the snow. And yesterday, I took a 30-minute walk at a favorite park through the snow-covered path. Check out the descriptions below for a 15-minute nature video that I took on my walk. I am not a video professional. It is what it is, but this also gives me something to watch and connect with on another day when I might not be so ambitious. A practice with focus. The practice of focusing on things that bring joy retrains the brain. It is becoming more and more apparent that this daily sit with nature effort is having an impact on me, a good one. I am seeing joy in the snow. I am finding joy in the refreshing cool air when I take walks outdoors, and I am finding joy in winter. And it truly is a beautiful thing. Pop, pop, pop. Along with the 10 to 20 minute sit with nature daily practice, I also practice popping thoughts of past phrases my brain used to like to focus on. Little note to brain, don't listen while I read this. These are just examples. There is a negative bias that is so natural for most of us. The brain wants to go to these thoughts, especially when joining others and mutually agreeing that this is the way we should think. Things like, I hate winter, or it's just too cold outside, or I can't wait for spring, and I just want the beach. Yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm talking about. Today is the day we have. The practice is to enjoy the moments rather than waste it, waiting for something better to come along. If you are listening to this as someone who knows me, you might think, didn't she just say blah, blah, blah the other day? Like I said, this is something I'm practicing. I'm not perfect, but I do like the direction I'm headed. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading of this blog post as read from BeFreeRespect.com. Check out the website for other blog posts. And start keeping a joy and gratitude journal. You can start with my 30-day joy and gratitude starter journal. Ease into a daily writing routine, available on Amazon.